Atlas Air cargo flight minutes after takeoff.
Mayday, mayday.
The airline says the Boeing 747-8 on its way to Puerto Rico was forced to return to Miami Airport.
Engine fire. Request section back to the airport.
It may be an uncontained engine failure where a rotating piece inside the engine got loose and then punctured out of the engine cowling.
If you're flying that plane, you want to get it back on the ground as quickly as possible.
Absolutely.
The FAA and NTSB are investigating. The incident happening just weeks after a door plug panel blew off a Boeing 737 MAX 9 plane during an Alaska Airlines flight. The FAA ordered a temporary grounding of 171 MAX 9s. The airplane manufacturer does not make engines, which appears to have been the issue on the Atlas Air flight.
Boeing has no responsibility for the manufacturing of this engine. They only manufacture the airframe and the wings.
The engine manufacturer GE says it is working with federal investigators.
I believe the airlines are a preview for some things that will begin to happen, some things that will begin to multiply in many different areas. So please, when I'm talking about this, do not get tense or afraid, but I do sense and see things, and it's my job to be a watchman and say what the Lord, I believe, is showing us to say. So let's look at this, this prophetic word that I shared some time ago, this airline prophetic word. Let's watch this.
To pray over airlines because I began
September
to have
21st.
a sense that there was going to be a great confusion
22.
and challenge and even some disaster in airlines.
Wow.
And we've got to begin to stand. So right now, in Jesus' name, I pray protection over the airlines. I pray protection over no hacking, nothing that would look like it was a natural accident, but it was really induced by a form of terrorists jumping in there. Father, in Jesus' name, I begin to speak protection over the airlines and passengers in all these scenarios. And I feel like that's going to hit the news, but God, I pray it does not hit the news. I pray for favor and protection over airlines and planes, that they would stay in the air in Jesus' name. Stay in the air in the name of the Lord. I come against death and destruction. You angels of death, you demonic fallen angel demons, you will not take life in our nation or the nations. I bind you up today in Jesus' name.
Let's watch the next one too.
Hear me now, okay? We need to pray for our airlines because there is something
July 3rd,
afoot with that, so to speak, that is not of God, that is not good, and there's a change coming to the airlines, and there's a shaking in the airlines, and there's all this that's going on in the airlines.
Now, there's a lot of clips I could show you in addition to this from past New Year's Eve and different prophetic insights I sense about this. Now, why am I bringing this out so strongly about the airlines and glitches and things? Well, because I believe that there is something that will manifest there first, and it has been. So when you see these things taking place in the world and all of it, I believe that there is difficulty, but this is nothing new. We know Jesus said, in this world, you will have trouble, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. I have overcome it all. The Lord is so gracious and long-suffering with all of us that he is just, he loves you. He loves you, and he doesn't want you to be afraid. He doesn't want you to be in turmoil over anything. He wants you to walk freely and lightly with all that we're facing. And I just got to tell you that God is not willing that any would not only not perish, he's willing that any would just begin to find him and know the hour of their visitation. And when we're looking at the challenges that the world is facing, we've got to recognize that Jesus knew about this stuff in advance. He knew that you would be walking through this very time. And there is an hour of challenge that we're coming into, and we've been in it for a little while. But I have great sense, even for this year, and even as I'm talking right now, I have this prophetic sense. Let me go here, if I could, in the Word of God with you. And I want you to go to John 16 and verse 33. John chapter 16 and verse 33, because I believe the Lord wants to give you great hope and great strength. Look at this. It says, these things I've spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. This is strong. I want you to know that in the Lord you can have peace. He's saying in me that you may have peace. You possess in all of this the peace that passes understanding. I believe that there's going to be more and more glitches. I believe the airlines are just a prophetic precursor to many of the things that are coming, but you're going to have more and more peace also rising to meet the turmoil. Listen, you were designed for this time. You're designed for this time. In this world, you will have trouble, but be of good cheer. I've overcome the world. I've overcome the world. I've overcome the world. On a bad day, you're anointed to be the very best there is. Now look at this again. It says, these things I've spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world, this is strong. You know what this word world means? It's that Greek word cosmos. The word world, the Greek word cosmos, not like cosmos as in the outer space. It's cosmos, which really means society or the public, the zeitgeist, the mood of the culture. That's what it's really talking about. It's saying in the world you will have tribulation. That's the Greek word thlipsis. Thlipsis means an unbearable pressure. But look at the dichotomy in this. Look at the two dueling things. It says you'll have world in this public arena you live in, you'll have pressure that's unbearable. That's what Jesus is saying. He said, but I've spoken to you in advance that you may have peace. That means no matter what comes, no matter how bad it could be, you have peace. The peace that passes understanding. Now look at all this. But be of good cheer. So again, in the public, you will have incredible pressure, unbearable amounts of weight and pressure. But be of good cheer. I love that. Jesus says, be of good cheer. You don't got to be afraid of this mess, this wicked, scummy mess out there. We're called to rescue those staggering off to destruction. We're called to rescue them and speak the truth, but you don't have to be afraid. You can be of good cheer. It says, in this world, you will have problems. Tribulation is the word, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Jesus said, you can have good cheer. The spiritual force of joy in the middle of it all. Be of good cheer because he has overcome the world. That is so awesome. I wrote a whole book on this. If you haven't gotten this book yet, you need to go to josephz.com and get this prophetic book. I wrote this, not a ghostwriter. I wrote this because the Lord spoke to me. I was writing a different book, and this is what a collision of systems, breaking hell's economy. Man, you want to get this book right now and get it for somebody if they don't have it, because this is a manual for how to break through right now. I feel so strongly about that. Get it at josephz.com right now, because I'm telling you, it's a prophetic word. I was writing a different book, and the Holy Spirit stopped me and commanded me to write this book. So I stopped everything and I began to write it. And wouldn't you know it, it goes in line with exactly what we're facing right now, economically, with wars and rumors of wars, nation rising against nation, so many things. And the Lord began to minister to me about how people can break out of a Babylonian system. You can break out of the Babylonian system, out of the Babylonian mindset. You can get free even under duress. Let me look right at you. When we're in the middle of difficult times and difficult circumstances, God has made a way for you. He's made such a way for you. You don't have to shrink back. You don't have to curl up in fear. As a matter of fact, you could say to darkness, you may come walking over, but you're going to go limping back, because greater is he that's in me than he that's in the world.
That we can do. No.
Oh.
Oh, my Lord. There's nothing we can do, man.
What in the world? This is what's been happening the past few days.
Wait, good, wait.
Weather. Here we go. What's been going on in America? What has been going on in the nation? From weather, from extreme weather. Look at this extreme weather. Accidents all over the country.
Anybody want to sit and enjoy a view?
Look at that.
Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York. Look at this. Look at the ice,
snowstorm.
the thickness of that ice.
4 feet of snow, 70-mile-an-hour winds, 27-foot waves.
27-foot waves.
Everything is on
Buffalo,
ice.
New York.
Absolutely crazy.
Watch, he breaks off this piece of ice here. Look at this. Okay, Let me look right at you. Man, I want to encourage you, if you would, please repost this right now. Somebody's going to really need to hear what I get into today, because this has a prophetic word attached to it. First of all, let me say this. The weather patterns people have been talking about and even bringing up, yes, it's wild weather. Things are happening. There's signs, wonders in the heavens. We see that in these days we're living in. But I also want to mention to you, there's more to this than meets the eye. There's a lot to be said about it. I want to talk about it for a moment. Then I'm going to go into this narrative today about what's going on with our, how can I say it? The scenario where they're beginning to give away our medical sovereignty to the WHO. That's something that we're going to talk about as well today, and what that means, the ramifications, and yet there is great hope coming. Please, if you would, repost this, share this everywhere. I want to say to you, there is a lot that's happening in the world, and if you have ears to hear, you know what the Spirit is saying. And part of the reason that I need to get into this is because I have an urgency in my heart, in my spirit, with what is coming like right now. I feel like it's, depth perception with prophecy is a hard thing, but I sense something coming right now, and we've got to get ready for it. I'm going to talk about that. I also want to say a huge thank you to the partners of this broadcast. Thank you for being a partner. We're so grateful to you. If you're brand new here, welcome. Thank you. And I bring this up every time, but if you want to become a partner today, I always bring it up because there's so many scams, people trying to pretend that they're us. I encourage anyone that wants to give or be a partner with this broadcast to go to josephz.com. That's how you do it. Or you text the keyword give to 719-259-0029. And if you're going to become a partner today, would you please comment in the comments right now, partnering today, so we can welcome you, to our partner family. We're so grateful to you. Now, I got a lot to get into, and it's going to be very, very important. One more thing I want to say, please also sign up for our text to join list, an absolutely free text service that we will reach out to you once you text us from your phone to this number, 719-719-3637. We don't text all the time, maybe once or twice a week do you get a text, but when we do, it's a special link you get where you click it and you're with us. And the reason is in case the pressures that be say, we don't want you talking here anymore, we can have you join us there at that place. And we send one out once a week minimum, just with special events and things that are happening, so you can stay in touch with us. Again, that's 719-719-3637. And we really want you to join us. We have thousands of people on that list right now. And we are advancing, you guys. We're growing. We got so much to get into. Don't forget to join us for the conference, February 9th and 10th, with Rick Renner and myself in Mesa, Arizona. That's going to be a powerful time together. You can register for free at josephz.com. Now, let me get into everything. Whew, it's a lot today. This is a lot. There is a lot happening with the weather. Let me cover this issue first. The last several days, there's been people that have been stranded, incredibly low temperatures, plummeting temperatures, winds that are out of control all across the nation. This large, just winter vortex has come across the land over this past week and a half. And I just got to say to you, there is something behind this. Now, one of the senses I have about it is there's a prophetic word in it, that there's a pivot coming. When the weather begins to happen, you pay attention to what's going on in the culture, and there is a lot going on in the culture as far as the zeitgeist and the mood of things, meaning that they're bringing in more of a change. There's a transitional thing happening. Secondly, with this weather pattern we've seen in the cold, frigid air that's happened, there is a argument, and maybe I'll show clips of this another time, but an argument that they can control and manipulate weather more than we realize. Everything from seeding the skies to bringing out events and cataclysmic events, including cold weather, hot weather, storms, hurricanes, all that. There's a big argument about it, and people have gone on record with their own career on the line to expose it, even saying it comes from Antarctica with things that they can create. There's other things such as HARP and all that. Now, I'll get into that more in a full disclosure, which you want to be on our text to join, where we really talk clearly about stuff. And it's important that you know that. Now, secondly, and I should say beyond that, is if they're doing that, one of the mechanisms that is being purported or considered is that they really could be trying to damage food. because of how severe the weather's been, that it impacts even the seed and harvest time of the following year. That's a discussion. Where that starts and stops is yet to be seen, but those are things that are going on. So there's this weather pattern felt unnatural to me, and it sure felt out of place, especially when somebody pulls ahead in Iowa. When you see that happening, suddenly they're all in a frenzy and they're roaring about it. Now, here's what I really want to get into today. This is serious. This is so serious. I've been praying about this. I'm actually going to do a very in-depth full disclosure soon on this, as soon as I can, where I really talk about it in depth. I'm going to talk about it at a good level here, and it's going to help you, but we really want to go into it. And that is the new thing they're saying is coming out that looks like this. It's the first part of Y and Z, X, they're talking about. And with this, they're adding the word ailment, illness, disease, that they want it to be a part of. And this is something that's on the horizon right now. It's a very serious concern. And why is it? Because the powers that be know that if 45 gets in, they're going to have the fight of their lives on their hands. And this is where we're headed right now. But as this is being mechanized and as this narrative is coming forward, and they're already saying it's 20 times worse than the last cycle of difficulty and physical difficulty people had. They're saying it's going to be 20 times more severe. That's the new narrative. And at the same time, we are only weeks away now from our nation's sovereignty and our own decisions being signed over to the WHO, where they could say, we don't need your permission, we're taking action, and we're going to do whatever we deem necessary to tell you what you will get in your anatomy, to tell you what you will do. You're going to get the mark of the beast precursor practice serum, which is the nickname I have for what was forced on everybody the last round. You're going to do this, you're going to do that, and we don't need your permission. And they want to violate our foundational rights as a nation. This is coming quickly. Look at the narrative they're marshaling. We got boots on the ground, foreign people on the ground because of our perimeters are not secured. We've got all these things coming. And then in addition to all that, now they're saying that the main global health scenario is going to begin taking the reins of this nation's ability to make its own choices. And right as they're doing that, they're saying, and by the way, something's coming down the pipe. You better get ready for it. As pervy Bill Gates laughs, ooh, ooh, right? What a scumbag, right? He's like, ooh, he's laughing and he's saying, oh, just get ready for it. It's going to be, well, it's got to be a good one. As he's, over there just, I don't even know what to say. Just these sickos they just don't know any bounds. And it's because they're demonized. It's because they are of the spirit of the age. It's because they are driven by a spirit of Antichrist. And when you got guys like that, you got guys like, Klaus is saying we need a great reset. You will do what we say, or you will own nothing and you will love it. Many of us could actually say, because of what happened in 20 till now, we could say, wow, we did not see that coming. So it's interesting. And it's just like they hid for a little while and they came back out. And here they are. Here they are. They're just here to tell us what we're going to do. And in the words of Tucker, our lizard overlords, our wicked scumbag, pervert lizard overlords, as they like to act as if they are over in Switzerland, are just really trying to make things happen and go forward. Now, I'm going to show you a clip here, and I want you to pay close attention to this. CBN put this out some time ago, and it was diverted what they were doing, but this tells you the whole premise for what we're dealing with, and it's coming this May. This May. Let's watch this clip right here. I want to go over to the screen, and I want you to see this. Let's take a look at this today. This is going to be really important.
The
Watch
World
this.
Health Organization's 75th World Health Assembly is underway in Geneva, Switzerland, and one of the items on the agenda are amendments to the WHO's international health regulations. There's been widespread concern that amendments offered by the Biden administration would hand over U.S. national sovereignty on matters of health to the WHO. They would allow the WHO to declare a health emergency in the United States, require the U.S. to report to an international compliance committee on whether it was obeying WHO directives.
Look at this. It says declare a public health issue here, require us to what? Report to a compliance committee, meaning, hey, we want to do this to your kids, or we want to do anything we really please, and now here's the group you're going to answer to. You will answer to us. Your sovereignty is over, is what they're trying to say. Let's keep going.
Would create an enforcement mechanism to essentially punish nations that don't follow the WHO's directives.
And that would mean whether it's social distancing, whether businesses are essential or not, whether churches are essential, different kinds of treatment, all of that would be under the jurisdiction and sovereignty of an international body and no longer under the United States of America.
Representative Chris Smith, ranking member of the House Global Health Subcommittee, called it an egregious breach of constitutional principle. It is egregious. Adding to suspicion about the amendments is that they were sent to the WHO in January, apparently without a public announcement, and were only discovered online last month. The wording of the amendments would certainly seem to give the WHO authority over the U.S. government. But how much teeth would the amendments actually have? The WHO Director General has branded claims that the amendments are a power grab, distortions, and disinformation, saying the WHO could not override the sovereignty of member nations.
WHO is an expression of member state-owned sovereignty and...
Well, hold on here. Just you know, I mean, just like in 20, they're saying, no, this is your choice. Choose this or else. That's what they're really saying. They're saying, we're not gonna take away, you know, your own sovereignty. We're not gonna do that. But, you know, kind of we are. Actually, legally we are. That's what they're getting at. Let's keep going.
WHO is entirely what the sovereign 194 member states want WHO to be.
And a Georgetown University law professor who helped write the international health regulations that the Bush White House signed on to in 2005 said the WHO only has the power to make recommendations. It could not force a country to allow WHO staff to interfere with its public health decision-making. Travis Weber, Vice President for Policy and Government Affairs at the Family Research Council, says while the amendments offered are disturbing, even if the international health regulations had the force of a treaty, which they do not, the U.S. Constitution would have the final say and not the WHO.
It does not trump the Constitution. Even in the case of a treaty,
neither did 20, though.
To a statute passed by Congress in its level of authority, the Constitution still trumps that.
And a new report says the amendments are now not expected to even be decided on this week. There is, however, concern the amendments could be incorporated into a new global pandemic treaty, which the WHO has been calling for. Republican Senators Steve Daines and Tom Cotton sent a letter to the White House Friday calling for the U.S. to leave the WHO as it did under President, saying the World Health Organization absolutely cannot be trusted with more power. It's clear from several of the WHO's own statements that it wants more power to fight future pandemics. What's not clear is if the proposed amendments would grant it the power some say it will.
Fear and doubt.
Okay, let me stop here for a second. Let me stop here for a second. So here's 45 now. We put this up here. 45 is going to make remarks back in this year of 20, where he's talking about what now remember, he's standing at Davos. He's there. He's looking at all the wicked lizard overlords, right? And then he begins to tell them how it should be and what we want to do for our nation. Now, I want to say this really clearly. They did indeed not go through with that. That video we just watched was from nearly a year and a half, 2 years ago, where it was right on around the corner. But now it's been pushed out again, and we're coming up on that this May. This May, they're voting on what they're going to do. Now, here's the good news. The good news is if we get 45 or someone like him back in, he'll either stop it, even if they vote yes on it, he'll stop it or then turn around and change it even after the fact. Either way, or somebody else would change it after the fact if we got them in and they were more in the right vein of thought, like thinking for yourself type of thought. So it's interesting. So let's get a little feel for how he talked to them when he was there in 2020. And you wonder why, this guy wasn't allowed to do more, but check this out.
Process. Because this is a time for tremendous hope and joy and optimism and action. But to embrace the possibilities of tomorrow, we must reject the perennial prophets of doom and their predictions of the apocalypse. They are the heirs of yesterday's foolish fortune tellers, and I have them, and you have them, and we all have them. And they want to see us do badly, but we don't let that happen.
Come on.
They predicted an overpopulation crisis in the 1960s, mass starvation in the 70s, and an end of oil in the 1990s. These alarmists always demand the same thing: absolute power to dominate, transform, and control every aspect of our lives. We will never let radicalists destroy our economy, wreck our country.
He gets into the CBDCs next.
Our liberty.
Okay.
America will always be the proud, strong, and unyielding bastion of freedom.
Stop. Let me say this. Let me say one more thing too. He finishes there. That was in 20. This is just recently. This next clip is recent. And now he starts talking about, get this, first time I've heard him talk about it, CBDCs, the central currencies, the digital currencies. And he talks about it. And I got to tell you, this gives me great hope to continue being a free agency in this land. I think we're going to have the fight of our lives on our hands going forward. But check this out here. Watch what he says about this.
I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency. Do you know about that?
Come on.
Ooh. I didn't know you know so much. I'm very, well, New Hampshire, very smart.
Stop it here for a second. Do you notice that he was surprised they even knew about it? He was surprised they even knew about it. And most people who hear us and we talk about this don't know what that is. It's a programmable currency that the geniuses over at the Economic Forum are trying to push out onto the entire planet, but really this nation the most. And then causing everybody to have programmable currency, and you survive on a credit system that whatever you do is tracked GPS-wise, and also programmed. So if they don't agree with something you want to purchase, maybe you're over on your meat intake for that month, they can just simply turn it off and say the algorithm will not allow that, like they do right now in the Red Dragon Nation, right now. So that being said, we realize that this is coming and they want to push this, and he is up on it. And there's a lot of people that don't even know about it, but we're catching on. This is why I'm starting to have hope for where we're going. And it also tells me that they're going to have to throw the switch or do something dramatic. Black swan, a word we've prophesied for 2 years. Suddenly it's in the mainstream. We've prophesied the word black swan events, issues like that for 2 years, and now the mainstream's saying it seems like that's going to happen. Well, they're sure gearing up for it. It sure looks like on many different fronts there's issues and things happening. So let's finish this clip. This is really strong here. And we'll stop after this clip for a moment. Watch this.
Such a currency would give a federal government, our federal government, the absolute control over your money. They could take your money, you wouldn't even know it was gone. This would be a dangerous threat to freedom, and I will stop it from coming to America.
One thing that Davos, you might say, and
let's
the people
stop here. Now, I'm bringing these out because I want to look at it. Now, this World Economic Forum scenario is just getting more and more popular, both positively and negatively, because they're getting exposed. Stuff's coming out onto the playing field, and these guys are concerned. They're really scared over here at the Economic Forum because people are starting to stand up to these wicked lizard overlord elites and saying, hey, no, we're not going to have this. We are pushing back, and you're starting to see it. You're seeing it in the farming communities. You're seeing it in Germany. You're seeing it in all these areas. And so I have great hope with what's coming. I really do. Let me look right at you just for a moment because I'm going to come back to this, but let me look right at you. You know, the world we're living in right now, it's wild. There's a lot to be said for it. There's challenges left and right. Yeah, there's extreme weather. There's all these things that are unfolding rapidly. I believe that they want to launch an ailment, this one that they're talking about, that letter. They want to bring it across the horizon. They want to get it going, and it's already, I believe, in motion. And they're saying it's 20 times worse. Why? Because they want to go ahead and one more time push a narrative where you will get the mark of the beast precursor practice serum because the elites over there that we signed our sovereignty over to say you will by law. They make it law or something. That's what they're going to push. But I really sense an uprising to this. They know that. So I think they're going to pull out all the stops. I think we're going to begin to see difficulty on the national soil where things begin to take off. That word decapolis, challenges are happening north, south, east, and west. But in the middle of it, I sense power. I sense righteousness. I sense a victory happening. And I want to get into a prophetic word. You know what? I'm going to go to the board for a second, and I'm going to draw something that you saw me draw already, but I have clarity, a little more clarity on this with all the signs and what we're seeing. Let me go to the board. This will be important for us today. Okay. Hang with me if you would. Please repost this, share this everywhere. I want to draw this to the best of my ability because I really sense that there is some serious narratives going on. And this is what I want to say. Look at this. Okay, I drew this at New Year's Eve. Just very quickly. Real quick, why am I drawing this? It's kind of the year like a clock, right? Okay, here's what I saw at the beginning of the year, and we're still here, okay? We're like right here. I saw this, roughly this quarter, right? This quarter, and you kind of see things sort of like this. This is how I view things many times. I saw something happening in this phase where it began to be induced here, come all the way through, and sort of in this range, and be induced into this time frame. Whether it's August or if it makes its way all the way into, you know, this time frame here. And then I saw, bear with me because I really need to share this with you. It's important today. I saw 45, and he was standing at the edge of as if it were a river. Okay, now we just saw victory here. Okay, we just saw victory there. But that's just a little precursor. And then what I saw, if you were with me on New Year's Eve, I saw another character get thrown in the mix. And I you know in part, you prophesy in part, and you're not quite sure what you're seeing, but I saw another character. I don't know if it's this person or if it's, Newsom or who it's going to be, but it could be, what's her name, his name, whatever. You recognize that it's going to be here. I saw if the church would pray, and here's where I'm encouraged. Have you noticed there's been a call to fasting? And during the same time I had this word, I got a little bit more hopeful things. I'm going to show you another clip here in a moment. But I began to see this word being talked about all the way through. Money, 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 money. And this has to do with economy. Okay? Economy. That's what I was seeing. Not, meaning money is just going to be the talk of the town. Like, are we going to see a recession? Are we going to see things difficult? How is it going to go? And I think it's just going to continue into this time frame here. And it's interesting that he comes along and says, Regarding CBDCs, that's a no. I don't think so. That's what he was saying. So this is very interesting where we are. So I saw if the church would pray, he could make this impossible hurdle over this river that's starting now. And we're going to see all this confusion and ups and downs and things. There'll probably be announcements all throughout this time frame, politically, nationally, internationally, stuff. There's going to be like, do my best here to draw some of this stuff. I see things like, I'll do it in this color, it's better. I see throughout this whole time frame here that there's going to be, fire, okay? Fires. Challenges all throughout the whole time frame. And in this whole narrative here, this whole playing field of vantage points, you're going to begin to see more and more unbelievable sights. Now, I think that they're a little bit going to get desperate with what they got to do. So when they're looking at this, we're looking at it, there's empirical observation going on. They're going to say, okay, there's fires. This involves everything from difficulty. I keep seeing the word, and I honestly don't know if this is this year or later, but I've seen this word about 3 times now, and I'm just putting it here. But that oil, I saw oil rigs. Be it platforms, be it oil fields. There's something about all this. This involves power, okay, grids, and so much that's going on. And of course, you got the open perimeters. And this is so they can win. You say, what do you mean win? Yeah, win. They're saying to them, get out there and cast your things so we can pick the right leaders. And they're making it available to these people coming from wherever. And you're seeing that nasty mess. Now, when you see this going on and we're coming through this playing field, I believe it's going to be victory, victory, victory. And so they're going to pull out all the stops. If you can imagine it, they're probably imagining it also. They're probably also imagining it. And if they come to the conclusion, hear me right now, if the wicked global elites come to the conclusion that they can't win this without their hand totally caught in the cookie jar, completely being exposed, if they can't win it that way, then they may indeed, in their mind, hear me now, this is probably not something you've heard a lot of people say, they may let him win or another like him, and then throw it all on him as he comes into this, because I keep praying for specifically this month, and man, am I praying for this month right here. I'm really praying for this. See that for this month. But I've been praying against a dark November. When I hear the words, it's from that popular phrase. It's a popular current thing, but you heard the words red, October, but I hope that the red means not the other thing. I hope it means victory, not the other thing, when I see this. So we're looking at all this, but I believe they're going to induce this character. Now, if indeed they bring her out, if they bring Michelle out, it's going to be a pretty wild day at the fair, if you get my meaning. It's going to be a wild west. It's going to be the fight of our lives because of what will happen. But I really do, I sense victory. And the Lord spoke to me and said the candidate, and it could be tied together, but the candidate of oil, the one that will run down this road, could actually begin to right-size things in the economic standing of this nation. So this is what I see. I see all these things happening. Now, that being said, they're terrified. They're terrified because everything they're throwing at this other candidate, everything they're throwing at 45 isn't working. So now they got to do something else. And even over at the economic forum, it's challenging and there's difficulty going on there. So let me show you another clip, and this will really encourage you. This will really encourage you. And I got to share some thoughts with you after that. Let me come over and look right at you. Okay, I want to look right at you. Let me take a look right at you. Now, I'm going to show you this clip. This is really important that you begin to see this. Here is President Roberts from the Heritage Foundation, and they invited him to go over and be at the WEF. Pretty exciting. Watch this clip here. I want to go over here and show you on the TV on the screen here. This guy asks him a question, and then he goes into it. Watch his answers. Now remember, they're there. They're in front of these people. They're in front of Klaus. They're in front of Noah. You know, they're in front of all of them. The false prophet, put it under the skin, is a boyfriend. You know, we do the things. And then you've got Klaus, who's just, you know, you will own nothing and you will love it. We need a great reset. It's just unbelievable. You know, his predecessors would have been proud. But let's take a look at this. And now remember, this answer he's giving, he is sitting in front of all of them. He is over there in Davos, and he begins to speak the truth. He says it calmly, but listen very carefully to the words he chooses and what he says. He's saying, we're going to take you. We're going to take you. We're the United States of America, and we're not putting up with this. That's what he's saying. Let's take a look at this.
Davos, you might say, and the people come here stand up for his liberal democracy.
It's laughable that you would, or anyone would describe Davos as protecting liberal democracy.
That's him.
I'll be candid here because I think I've been invited here to be candid. Elites tell us that open borders and even illegal immigration are okay. The average person tells us in the United States that both rob them of the American way of life. Elites also tell us that public safety isn't a problem in big American cities.
Yeah.
Just travel to New York or Washington or Dallas, Texas. The average person will tell you that the lack of public safety damages not just the American way of life, but their life. Elites tell us that we have this existential crisis with so-called climate change. The solutions, the average person know, cost more human lives, especially in Europe during the time that you need heating, than do the problem and the problems themselves. The fourth, the number one adversary, not just to the United States, but to free people on planet Earth. Not only do we at Davos not say that, we give the Chinese Communist Party a platform. And fifth, as we sit here, another supranational organization, the World Health Organization, is discussing foisting gender ideology upon the global South. These are practices that are under review, if not being rejected, by countries in Northern Europe. The new president, the special events president, will, as you like to say, trust the science. He will understand the basic biological reality of manhood and womanhood. And do you know why? Not because of retribution, not because he's a dictator, but because he has the power of the American people behind him. Let me just correct the slight assertion you made there. We want to win. We want to win with a lot more help from European allies. I think the United States has a role. Heritage has been clear about this for 2 years now, that there is a world in which we support military aid. Our first obligation in foreign policy is to look at it through the lens of what's best for the American citizen. Joe Biden has done a god-awful job in articulating what that is. The kind of person who will come into the next conservative administration is going to be governed by one principle, and that is destroying the grasp that political elites and unelected technocrats have over the average person. And if I may, I will be candid and say that the agenda that every single member of the administration needs to have is to compile a list of everything that's ever been proposed at the World Economic Forum and object all of them wholesale.
Come on. In their face. He's saying it to their face. That's leadership. That's how winning's done. I just got to tell you, I really appreciate that this man actually said it. He said it straight and he said it plain. Let me look right at you. I want to look at you. Now, here's the thing. I've never felt such a call to action as I feel right now. I sense so clearly we're to move forward. Right now we're in the time frame where we're giving God a job to do, something to accomplish for the kingdom, to do what the Lord's called us to do what you're called to do. I have this burning desire to go out and help people, but this media thing, God's putting more and more of an anointing on us for media to really begin bringing a now word at this time. I see hope coming. I see strength coming. Listen, they're going to try to intimidate. Goliath is coming. That word I shared on Goliath, the lion, the bear, but Goliath is coming. And then the media comes out and begins to call it, I call it Goliath, they say. I'm telling you, we are stepping up to the line. And Goliath is stepping up to the line and saying, you will do what I tell you to do, and we're here to take over. And the Lord is saying, no. My church is here, my ecclesia, the called out ones, the red church, going red in the blood of the Lamb. We are not going to be defeated. We're going to see victory. This is not the end. We have another round yet.
I want to thank our partners and those of you who are watching right now who have been joining us. And maybe there are some of you who might even have been on the fence about becoming a partner. I just want to encourage you, if that's something that you might be praying about or inquiring the Lord about, to maybe just go ahead and take a step. And we would love to invite you as one of our partners and as a partner family. You'll get a call every month from us. You'll receive a phone call. We pray for you. And we have many other resources that we have where you can come together and receive prayer as well. And so if you're looking to potentially partner somewhere, please send us. We're looking to go everywhere we can reach all around the world to get the gospel of Jesus, the good news, to any and all who will hear and see and trust and know that He is Lord. So if you're looking to partner, you can go ahead and go to josephz.com. All the information is there for you to join and to sign up with us and partner up, really coming together as a joint partnership to really getting the gospel around the world. Visit us at josephz.com, or you can text the keyword GIVE to 719-259-0029. We sure do love you all so much, and we are so grateful for your support and your help so we can see this world won for Jesus.
Are you prepared for 2024? Well, we want to do our part to ignite the roar in 2024. That's why we're hosting the Power to Stand Conference in Mesa, Arizona, February 9th and the 10th. My dear friend Rick Renner will be joining me along with Pastor Jason Anderson for 2 powerful days that are saturated in the presence of God. I'm telling you, this world is getting wild. This year is going to be filled with unparalleled challenges, but you're going to be filled with the faith of God to stand against what comes next. I encourage you, join us for this conference, February the 9th and 10th at the Power to Stand. I promise you, your life is going to be impacted. I hope to see you there. Have you noticed the collision of good and evil, light versus darkness? It's happening every day right in front of us. I'm Joseph Z, and I just wrote this book, Breaking Hell's Economy. It's a prophetic book dealing with this exact issue. What we're facing right now is a collision of kingdoms. It's the kingdom of darkness versus God's kingdom. It's the kingdom of light versus the gates of hell. And what you're seeing is this collision taking place, but we are promised that the church, the called out ones, would overcome and we would never be taken over by the gates of hell. In the times we're living in, you can see incredible, outstanding breakthrough in every area of your life. Much like the children of Israel that went through the darkness and shined as a light in Goshen in the middle of difficulty. This book is a prophetic book for you and your family to thrive in the middle of difficult times. You know, there's nothing new under the sun, and that's what we're seeing over and over again, is this challenge. You've seen the Great Depression back in the 20s and 30s. You've seen wars and world wars and many things that have come against society, and this pattern repeats itself. And I'm here to tell you today, even Jesus dealt with the same issue that we're facing today when he was a child. Many people have been through this before, and the outcome determines what you believe. What you believe and what you know will bring a great outcome for you. And this book is a prophetic book that will help you navigate and break out of this present evil age. Get ready to be the light in darkness. Get ready to be the light in Goshen that God has called you to be. Breaking Hell's Economy is for you. I encourage you to order your copy today.